When graphing a linear inequality, it's very similar to graphing a linear equation, except we have an inequality symbol, which as you read through in the guided learning means that we're going to have to go through and include some shading and pay attention to the type of line that we're actually drawing. Now, you want to check to make sure that your inequality is in slope-intercept form because it'll make it a little bit easier when you have to figure out which direction to shade. So this is in y equals mx plus b form. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept, just like you would do if this was an equation and not an inequality. So we're going to begin by plotting 0, 4, which is our b, our y-intercept. And then since our slope is negative 2/3, we're going to go down 2 and to the right 3, down 2 to the right 3, and so on. Now before we actually go through and connect our points, we want to determine what kind of line we actually need to draw. Since this is a less than or equal to symbol, we are going to be drawing a solid line. It has the line underneath, so we draw a solid line. And you want to make sure when you are actually drawing your line that you extend all the way across your graph, because you're essentially creating this boundary line that breaks your graph up into two portions. We have this upper right portion here and sort of this bottom lower left portion here. Okay, now when we are trying to figure out which direction to shade, you again want to look at your inequality symbol. The inequality symbol is a less than or equal to. So what I want you guys to try to do is take your pencil or pen and you want to put it on that boundary line like so. Now, if we want less than, does that mean that we want to shift up, which is everything that's actually greater than that y-intercept or that boundary line? Or do we want to shade under or below? As we move down, remember that means less than, because all of the y values are becoming less than that y-intercept. So since it is a less than symbol, when you have your pencil on that boundary line, we want to go down and we're going to shade under, because everything under this line is less than that y-intercept. So we're going to shade all of this section here. Now, to just double check to make sure that you shaded the right portion of your graph, you want to check a point that's located in the shaded region. And you can pick any point that you want in the shaded region. I'm going to pick the point 3, 1, but if you want to choose something different, by all means, you can. So what we're going to do with that point is we're actually going to go through and we're going to substitute it into that original inequality. And make that y a 1 from that ordered pair. Now here, when we have a denominator of 3 and we're multiplying by 3, those are actually going to multiply out to 1. So we'll have negative 2 plus 4. So we get 1 is less than or equal to 2, and 1 is less than or equal to 2. So we do end up with a true statement, which means that 3, 1 is a solution to the inequality. So we did shade on the correct side of that boundary line, because remember that whole entire shaded portion represents all of the solutions to that original inequality.